Hello and welcome back to CKL Internet TV. I am Dr. Doom.
And I'm Duckman.
And in today's episode, well, not even an episode, we're unveiling a new program on CKL Internet TV. As you saw in the beginning credits, we call this program The World This Week, and that's exactly what we're doing. In this new program, we'll be looking back at news stories from the past week, as we will be doing every Friday. Now, the news for Friday, January 5th. On Friday, a serious security breach took place at Vancouver International Airport. A man carrying too much liquid through security left the secure area to give the liquid to his family. He went back to the pre-board screening checkpoint, where he was supposed to fall in line to be rescreened. However, instead of being rescreened, the man went straight through the checkpoint. This incident occurred around 11:20 a.m. Pacific Time, which is the busiest time for international flights. This resulted in a backlog of over 3,000 passengers and at least 10 stranded flights. The gates at the airport were finally reopened at 2:45 p.m. Pacific Time. In other news, on Friday, the air-filled roof on top of British Columbia's signature BC Place Stadium burst. It tore open Friday afternoon, forcing the evacuation of the stadium and raising a few questions about the future of the 20-year-old building. The fabric roof was deflated by stadium workers after a massive tear on the southwest side of the building, ripped open in a huge semicircle, the piece of roof flapping wildly in the breeze. Thankfully, there were no injuries reported in this accident, but this accident put a number of trade shows into peril. The 60,000-seat stadium is the host for the BC Lions, this year's Grey Cup winners, and it is also slated to be the site of the open ceremonies for the 2010 Winter Olympic Games. On Saturday, Osama bin Laden's top aide has urged Somalia's Islamist forces to launch an Iraq-style guerrilla campaign of suicide attacks and ambushes against Ethiopian forces in Somalia. Al-Qaeda's deputy leader said in the tape that the world's strongest power was defeated by campaigns of the Mujahideen in Iraq and Afghanistan. In other news, on Saturday, Iraqi PM Nouri al-Maliki has said his government could review relations with any country who's criticized the execution of ex-leader Saddam Hussein. Mr. Maliki said the hanging was a domestic affair for the benefit of the Iraqi people, and he also added that the Iraqi leader had received a fair trial. The recently appointed Archbishop of Warsaw, who has been at the center of a communist-era spying row, was right to resign according to the Vatican. The Archbishop confirmed his decision in a tearful announcement to the congregation gathered to witness his installation. New York officials evacuated a number of buildings and shut down some trains after a mysterious gas-like odor was reported on Monday. A police department spokesman said that an air quality test determined that the air was not hazardous, and the U.S. Homeland Security Department said that terrorism was not involved in any way. In a separate event, downtown Houston, Texas was closed for several hours after some dead birds were found in the downtown vicinity. After some testing, Houston city officials determined that any gas that may have been present that killed the birds was not dangerous to humans. The city's downtown core was soon reopened. In local news, a woman has given birth to sextuplets in a Vancouver area hospital. The sextuplets, which are Canada's first, are reported to be in stable condition. The birth is being hailed as a miracle, but even so, the babies will likely have underdeveloped lungs and they could be blind, according to experts. The 4 boys and 2 girls weighed only about 1.8 pounds when they were born. That birth took place on Monday. On Tuesday, fighting erupted in Mogadishu. Men firing rockets and throwing grenades have attacked an Ethiopian military camp in Mogadishu, which is the capital of Somalia. A large explosion was also heard as the sound of gunfire echoed through the city on Tuesday night. The attacks raised fears that the Islamic Courts Union, which were ejected from the city by Ethiopian and Somali-backed government troops on January 1st, may have been planning a counterattack. Also on Tuesday, a Pentagon spokesman has confirmed that the U.S. airstrikes in Somalia were aimed at al-Qaeda leaders in that country, and based on credible intelligence. In its first official comments on the airstrike, the Pentagon said a raid was carried out on Sunday, but declined to say if it had hit its target. Fresh air raids were reported near the town of Afmandao on Monday and Tuesday, but it is not clear if these were carried out by the U.S. or Ethiopian troops, which are backed by the transitional Somali government. And now, for news of a vicious windstorm, let's go over to Duffman in Studio 2. Duffman.
Hello. Another vicious snow and windstorm galloped through British Columbia on Wednesday. The latest wind and snowstorm that galloped through British Columbia was more than just inconvenient. It left people coping with dangerous conditions in many parts of the province. Forecasters had predicted that the snow would stop falling by 7:30 a.m., but the snow continued to fall throughout the day. Throughout the day, thousands of people thought that through the province lost power and many roads were closed. Back to you.
Thank you, Duffman. And in more news, on Wednesday, Bush announced a new strategy on Iraq. The U.S. President said that the Americans' and Iraqis' patience is running thin. Senior administration officials said that 17,500 troops would go to Baghdad and 4,000 to Violence Iraq Anbar province to bring the total number of troops over 24,000. The first wave of troops is expected to arrive in the next 5 days. Also on Wednesday, parts of the Indonesian plane that has gone missing was found. Indonesian officials say that part of the tail of the plane had been found in the sea approximately 300 meters off the coast by a fisherman. An air base commander said that a fisherman had found the pieces. When the plane went missing, 102 people were on board. None of them are expected to have survived.
Hey, dude. On Thursday, several explosions hit southern Iran. 3 explosions have occurred in the south of Iran, according to the Iran News Agency.
Thank you for that, Duffman. And finally, U.S. officials have admitted that their airstrike in Somalia missed its al-Qaeda targets. This released on Thursday. This is contrary to earlier reports that a senior member of the al-Qaeda group had been killed in the attacks. At least 8 Somalis are believed to have ties with al-Qaeda, and they were killed in the airstrike. However, 3 senior members of the group did escape. Thank you for watching this program. This is the news for your week of Friday, January 5th.